My beloved child, stop whatever you are doing right now. Do not scroll past this. Do not close this video. Stay with me for a moment because this is not a coincidence. You may think this is just another message appearing in front of you at another ordinary moment of your day, but it is not. Before this hour arrived, before you opened this video, before your attention landed here, I already knew this moment would come. I have been waiting for this moment. Out of all the places you could be, out of all the voices you could be hearing, this message reached you because it was meant to. This is a divine appointment, and I need your full attention. Not tomorrow, not later, not after one more distraction. Right now, pause your thoughts. Put aside the noise around you. Set down whatever has been pulling at your heart for just a little while, because what I am about to say cannot be received with a divided spirit. Listen carefully. There is something you have not understood about this season of your life. You have been trying to read the signs. You have been wondering why certain things shifted unexpectedly, why some doors stayed closed, why your heart has felt restless, even during quiet moments. You sensed that something was changing. You felt it, but you could not explain it. And that is why I called you here. I did not bring you to this message to entertain you. I did not stop your attention just to comfort you for a few minutes. I brought you here because there is something I must place into your heart before the days ahead unfold. Stay until the end, because before this message is finished, I will reveal one instruction, one key you cannot afford to ignore. That key will help you recognize what is happening around you. That key will help you stand when others lose direction. And that key may unlock something you have been praying for longer than you realize. But first, I need you to stay. Do not rush. Do not dismiss this. This is not a coincidence. Stop whatever you are doing. I have been waiting for this moment. And now, listen. My beloved child. Now stay with me and listen carefully. Because what I say next is not for everyone. These words are for the one who kept going even when no one noticed how heavy life had become. I have been with you longer than you realize. Not only in your victories, not only in the moments when your faith felt strong, I was there in the ordinary days, in the exhausting days, in the quiet battles nobody else knew existed. I watched you when the room became silent and your thoughts became louder than your voice. I saw the nights when you laid your head down but sleep would not come because your mind carried too much at once. I saw the tears you wiped away quickly because you did not want anyone asking questions. I saw the moments when you smiled in front of people and then sat alone wondering how much longer you could keep pretending to be okay. You thought no one understood, but I understood. I saw the pressure you carried in your finances, the calculations in your mind, the moments you looked at numbers and felt fear rise in your chest, the prayers you whispered quietly, asking how things would work out. I saw every moment you chose responsibility even when you felt empty. I saw the health battles you never explained fully, the tiredness you learned to live with, the moments you said, "I'm fine," because explaining your pain felt harder than carrying it. I saw the disappointment when progress felt slow. I saw the questions you never asked aloud, and I stayed. I saw the betrayal too, the trust you gave that was not protected, the promises people made and forgot, the messages that never came, the support you expected but did not receive, the realization that some people loved the version of you that served them but disappeared when you needed them. I know how deeply that wounded you. And still, you kept showing kindness. You kept helping. You kept showing up. My child, do not think I missed that. Not one act of love, not one prayer spoken through tears, not one moment you chose to continue instead of giving up. Nothing has been wasted. Every silent prayer reached me. Every moment of obedience was recorded. Every act of faith planted something you could not yet see. You thought heaven was quiet, but heaven was not absent. Heaven was working. And there is something I need you to understand. What you called delay was not abandonment. What you called silence was not rejection. What you called loss was not the end. There were things I protected you from that you still do not know. Doors I did not open because they would have broken you. Paths I redirected because they would have drained your spirit. People I removed because they were attached to your comfort but not your future. Do not look away now, because what I am about to reveal may change how you understand everything behind you. You believed this season was punishment. It was preparation. You believed you were being forgotten. You were being strengthened. You believed your life had stopped, but roots grow underground before fruit appears. My beloved child, hear me now. The season of endless waiting is closing. The season of carrying confusion without understanding is ending. You are not standing where you stood before. You have changed. You are stronger than you know. Your heart survived what once would have destroyed you. Your faith remained alive in places where others would have surrendered. That was not weakness. That was refinement. I did not lead you into fire to harm you. I allowed pressure to reveal strength. I allowed waiting to build trust. I allowed hidden seasons to prepare you for visible blessings. And what is coming next cannot be received by the version of you that existed before. So do not regret the process. Do not despise the waiting. Do not call yourself forgotten. You have been prepared with precision. Stay with me, because what I reveal next will explain why this season had to happen exactly the way it did. My beloved child, now I want you to see something you have not seen before. You have spent so much time asking why. Why did certain things collapse when you prayed for them to remain? Why did doors stay closed after you knocked with faith? Why did seasons stretch longer than expected? Why did progress seem slower for you while others moved ahead? You searched for meaning inside the pain, and when no answer came quickly, part of you quietly concluded that perhaps you had done something wrong. But listen carefully now. You misunderstood the season. You believed hardship meant distance. You believed delay meant rejection. You believed struggle meant I had turned away. That was never the truth. There are processes I do in hidden places that cannot happen in comfort. There are gifts I prepare that cannot be carried by an unprepared heart. There are answers that arrive only after your foundations become strong enough to hold them. You thought I was taking something from you. I was increasing your capacity. You saw limitation. I saw construction. You saw interruption. I saw preservation. There were moments you asked for immediate relief, and I answered with strengthening instead. Not because I ignored your request, but because rescue without preparation would have placed you into blessings that your spirit was not yet ready to sustain. My child, understand this. Not every closed door is opposition. Some doors closed because your future could not fit through them. Not every ending is loss. Some endings are sacred separation. Not every waiting season is empty. Some waiting seasons are where identity is rebuilt. You wanted speed. I was forming stability. You wanted visible movement. I was building unseen structure. And the things built in secret always last longer than the things built quickly. There are people you would have followed who would have slowly emptied your spirit. There are opportunities that look perfect but carried hidden burdens. There were places you begged to enter that would have rewarded your ambition but damaged your peace. You call that disappointment. I call that protection. And I know this truth was difficult to accept because protection rarely feels beautiful while it is happening. Protection often feels like silence. Protection feels like being misunderstood. Protection feels like standing still while others appear to move. But later, you realize you were being preserved. My beloved child, there is another reason your season unfolded this way. You were learning to become anchored in who I am, not in outcomes. Because if your trust depends only on visible results, then fear will control you every time circumstances shift. But when trust is rooted in me, even uncertain seasons lose their power over you. Do not miss what I am saying, because this next understanding may unlock something you have been trying to force open for years. The process was never designed to punish you. It was designed to remove urgency from your spirit, to teach you not to chase what is immediate and lose what is eternal. And now hear me very carefully, because this moment carries more weight than you realize. There are people who arrive at the edge of promise but turn back because they become impatient one step before transition. Do not become one of them. Do not abandon the process simply because the fruit has not appeared yet. Because timing matters. Windows of readiness do not remain open forever. If fear convinces you to retreat now, if frustration causes you to release what I asked you to hold, you may delay what was prepared specifically for this season. Stay. Remain. Do not disconnect at the moment. Understanding is beginning. Because what I reveal next explains why the waiting had to last exactly as long as it did. And the next truth will change how you see everything that comes after this. My beloved child, there is something else I must uncover for you. You have measured progress by what changed around you. But I was measuring something different. I was watching what changed within you. Because what enters your life matters far less than the condition of the person receiving it. Many people pray for elevation. Very few prepare for stewardship. Many ask for open doors. Few ask to become the kind of person who can remain peaceful once those doors open. And that is why your journey looked different. I was not only preparing circumstances, I was preparing your inner world. There were reactions inside you that needed to soften, expectations that needed to loosen, definitions of success that needed to become smaller so purpose could become larger. You thought the greatest miracle would be external, but some of the greatest miracles happen when a heart becomes free. Do you remember who you were before this season? You were carrying urgency. You thought everything had to happen immediately. You believed delay automatically meant failure. You attached your identity to outcomes. You allowed timing to decide your worth. And slowly, without realizing it, you began treating achievement as proof that you were moving correctly. But I could not let you build your life on things that disappear. So I interrupted patterns. I slowed rhythms. I allowed stillness to expose places inside you that constant motion had hidden. Not because movement is wrong, but because speed can hide emptiness. And I loved you too much to allow hidden emptiness to become visible collapse later. My child, there were places where I intentionally reduced noise around you, not to isolate you, to teach you discernment. Because there are voices that sound encouraging but make you dependent. There are opportunities that look exciting but slowly steal direction. There are seasons of activity that appear productive but leave the soul exhausted. I needed you to discover something stronger than momentum. I needed you to discover conviction. Conviction remains even when excitement fades. Conviction stays when applause disappears. Conviction keeps walking when emotion changes. That is what has been forming inside you. And do not overlook this. You have already changed more than you realize. You recover differently now. You respond differently now. Things that once destroyed your peace no longer carry the same authority. Conversations that once controlled your emotions now pass through without defining you. You are becoming less dependent on approval, less impressed by appearances, less willing to exchange peace for performance. This was not accidental. This was transformation. And now listen very carefully. because what I am about to say marks a dividing line. There are moments in life where preparation becomes invitation. There are seasons where refining becomes release. But release requires agreement, not perfection. Agreement. If you remain attached to old expectations, if you keep reaching backward for versions of life that no longer fit your calling, you can stand at the entrance of new provision and never step inside. Do not confuse familiarity with faithfulness. Do not remain loyal to seasons I already completed, because opportunities connected to obedience do not stay unchanged forever. There are moments where hesitation creates distance. There are moments where waiting too long becomes another form of fear. And I do not want that for you. Stay attentive. Do not drift now, because many people leave just before understanding turns into movement. Many retreat the moment trust becomes necessary. But you are closer than you think. Do not release your place. Do not step away because things still look unfinished. Because what I reveal next will explain why certain things had to leave before what belongs to you could finally arrive. My beloved child, there is one final truth about this season that you must understand before we move forward. You thought I was preparing a blessing, but I was preparing alignment, because blessings given outside of alignment become burdens, and I was not interested in giving you something that would impress people but quietly drain your soul. So I began rearranging things, not around you, within you. I began changing what you desire. I began changing what feels acceptable. I began changing what you tolerate. I began changing what you call success. You did not notice it at first. You only felt discomfort. Things that once satisfied, you started feeling empty. Places that once energized, you started feeling heavy. Conversations you once enjoyed started feeling shallow. Dreams that once consumed you started becoming quieter. And part of you wondered what was wrong. Nothing was wrong. You were outgrowing places built for earlier versions of yourself. Growth often feels like loss before it feels like expansion, because becoming requires leaving, and leaving always feels unfamiliar before it feels freeing. My child, I never intended for your life to remain at the level where approval decided your direction. I never designed you to spend your years collecting temporary victories while neglecting eternal assignments. You thought you needed more opportunities. I saw that you needed greater clarity. You thought more options would bring peace. I knew focus would bring peace. So I allowed reduction. Reduction is not removal. Reduction is concentration. When unnecessary things leave, what matters becomes visible. That is why some paths narrowed. That is why certain plans dissolved. That is why some outcomes never formed. Not because your life was shrinking, because your calling was becoming clearer. Listen carefully, because many people miss this moment. There comes a point where staying emotionally attached to old seasons becomes more dangerous than stepping into uncertainty. There comes a point where nostalgia becomes delay. There comes a point where repeatedly asking for signs becomes another way of avoiding trust. And I'm speaking to you now because I do not want you to stand outside what has already been opened. You have interpreted hesitation as wisdom, but not every delay is discernment. Sometimes delay becomes fear, wearing spiritual language. My beloved child, hear me with seriousness. Moments of invitation are not endless. There are seasons that return, and there are seasons that must be entered while the door stands open. This is not pressure. This is responsibility, because what I prepare for you carries timing. There are assignments attached to readiness. There are opportunities attached to obedience. There are answers attached to movement. Do not misunderstand me. What belongs to you cannot be stolen, but it can be postponed. And prolonged wandering creates exhaustion that was never necessary. Do not remain in circles after understanding has arrived. Do not ask for more confirmation when I am asking for response. Do not become comfortable in preparation when I am beginning transition. Stay close now. Stay awake. Do not disconnect at the edge of change. Because there are people who wait for certainty and miss transformation. There are people who ask for guarantees and never experience growth. There are people who remain near the river but never step into the water. Do not become one of them. You have not come this far to retreat. You have not endured refinement to remain unchanged. You have not survived hidden seasons to remain hidden forever. And now, listen more carefully than before. Because in what comes next, I will no longer explain the process. I will reveal what has already been decided. And once you understand that, you will never see this season the same way again. My beloved child, stay with me now. Because we have reached the moment where I no longer speak only to comfort you. And I no longer speak only to explain what you have survived. Now I speak to announce what has changed. Everything before this moment was preparation. Every hidden battle, every unanswered question, every season where you had to keep trusting without seeing the full picture was bringing you to this point. You thought you were only waiting, but you were being positioned. You thought time was passing you by, but time was being gathered under my command. You thought nothing was moving, but in the unseen, arrangements were being made that your eyes could not yet recognize. Now listen carefully. A decree has been released, not from the mouths of people, not from systems, not from circumstances, not from those who once misunderstood you, overlooked you, or counted you out. This decree has come from the place where my will stands above every earthly limitation. And what I have spoken over your life will not be canceled by fear, delayed by opinions, or erased by what happened before. The season of only enduring is coming to an end. You are not being called to remain forever in the posture of survival. Survival preserved you, but it was never meant to become your identity. I carried you through the narrow place because there was another place prepared beyond it. I strengthened you in hidden rooms because you would need strength for open doors. I kept you when you could not explain your own endurance because I knew the day would come when what was stored in you would finally be required. That day is closer than you think. Do not let your mind reduce this word to ordinary encouragement. This is not simply a gentle reminder. This is a turning point. Something has shifted in the spiritual realm. And soon your outer life will begin to show signs of what has already been decided above. The first signs may be small. They may not look dramatic. They may not arrive the way you imagined. But do not despise small beginnings, because sometimes the first evidence of a new season appears quietly before it becomes undeniable. You may notice a door opening where there was once silence. You may feel courage returning in an area where fear once ruled. You may receive clarity about a decision that used to feel confusing. You may sense peace where pressure used to control you. You may suddenly lose the desire to chase what once consumed your attention. These are not random changes. They are signs of transition. Hear me closely, because this next truth matters deeply. Breakthrough is not always the removal of every battle. Sometimes breakthrough is the moment a battle loses its power to define you. Sometimes breakthrough is when what used to intimidate you no longer controls your obedience. Sometimes breakthrough is when your spirit rises and says, I will not live beneath what God has spoken over me anymore. That is happening now. Old cycles are losing their grip. Old fears are losing their voice. Old delays are losing their authority. The places where you felt locked are being addressed by my hand. The areas where you felt forgotten are being remembered in my presence. The prayers that seemed buried beneath years of waiting have not expired. They have been held until the appointed time. And now I am calling your heart to wake up because the appointed time is beginning to open. Do not scroll away in your spirit. Do not disconnect from this word. There is still something I must say that will determine how you walk into what comes next. Many people hear a promise but never align with it. They agree emotionally for a moment. But when the moment requires faith, they return to old thinking. They hear that a door is opening, but they keep staring at the door that closed. They hear that a new season has begun, but they continue dressing their future in the clothing of their past. My child, do not do that. Do not carry yesterday's disappointment into today's decree. Do not answer tomorrow with yesterday's fear. Do not let the memory of delay make you suspicious of my timing. I am not asking you to pretend the pain was not real. I am asking you to stop giving pain the authority to interpret what I am doing now. The decree has been released, but your agreement matters. Not because your agreement creates my power, but because your agreement positions your heart to receive what my power is releasing. A closed heart can stand beside an open door and still refuse to enter. A fearful heart can hear good news and still hesitate. A weary heart can see movement and still say, maybe this is not for me. But I am telling you, this word is for you. So seal this moment. Right. Amen. I receive it. Right. I believe. Right. I am ready for the new season. Do not write it as an empty phrase. Write it as a declaration of agreement. Write it as a line drawn between what was and what will be. Write it as your refusal to remain attached to the version of life that fear tried to assign to you. Because something has shifted. The waiting season has completed its assignment. The hidden preparation has produced what it needed to produce. The refining has reached the place where release can begin. And now, my beloved child, I need you to stay until the very end, because I still have one final truth to place in your spirit before I call you to act in faith. This final truth is important for your future. It will show you how to recognize the first signs of the breakthrough. It will teach you how not to lose focus when the door begins to open. And it will help you understand why this decree was not released only to bless you, but to position you as a witness of my faithfulness. So remain here. Keep your heart open. Do not turn away now. The announcement has begun, but I am not finished. What I speak next will show you how to walk into the season that has already been declared over you. My beloved child, remain with me a little longer, because the decree has been spoken. But there is something you must understand before this new season fully unfolds. A decree changes what is available, but alignment determines what is entered. And I do not want you to stand at the edge of what has been released while still carrying the habits of an old season. So listen carefully, because I am not only announcing what is opening, I am revealing how to recognize it. The next season of your life will not arrive wearing the same clothes as your expectations. Do not search for it only in dramatic moments. Do not assume that transformation always enters loudly. Many people miss the beginning of their breakthrough because they are waiting for certainty instead of responding to invitation. What I am bringing into your life will require attention. There will be moments that seem ordinary but carry unusual weight. A conversation that feels unexpectedly clear. A decision that suddenly no longer feels complicated. A burden you realize you no longer want to carry. A direction that keeps returning to your heart. A quiet confidence replacing endless analysis. Do not ignore these moments. The next season will not begin with force. It will begin with recognition. My child, I also need you to release a misunderstanding that has followed you for too long. You believed breakthrough meant becoming someone different. But what I am doing is revealing who you were becoming all along. You have spent enough time adapting yourself to survive places you were never meant to stay. Enough time shrinking your voice. Enough time lowering your expectations. Enough time assuming that limitation was humility. Enough time treating endurance as identity. That season taught you, but it does not own you. Now there is movement, and movement requires response. Hear this carefully because this next truth matters. Some people ask for doors to open but never step forward when the opening appears. Not because they lack faith, because they became emotionally attached to preparation. Preparation feels safer than transition. Waiting feels safer than responsibility. Expectation feels safer than receiving. But you cannot remain forever in rehearsal. There comes a moment when trust must become action. There comes a moment when prayer becomes agreement. There comes a moment when hope becomes movement. This is that moment. Do not overstudy what I already made clear. Do not remain asking for another sign while the answer stands in front of you. Do not call hesitation wisdom if fear is the thing making decisions. You are not standing before another cycle. You are standing before a response. And I need to tell you something else. This may be one of the most important truths you hear. The blessing is not the final goal. The blessing is the beginning of responsibility, because what I am bringing into your life was never meant to stop with you. The peace I give becomes shelter for others. The wisdom I build becomes guidance for others. The restoration I produce becomes evidence for others. What I establish in you will speak long after this season ends. That is why I refined your heart before enlarging your influence. That is why I strengthened your inner life before expanding your reach. And now I ask you for something, not to earn what I promised, but to seal your agreement with what is already unfolding. Do not stay only as a listener. Participate. Right, I step forward. Right, I release the old season. Right, I will not retreat. Write it as a witness to your own spirit. Because declarations do not move me, they move you. They remind your heart that fear no longer has authority. And there is still one final detail I do not want you to miss. Do not compare your beginning with someone else's middle. Do not measure your next season against another person's timeline. Do not judge your progress by visible speed. What I begin in you will unfold with intention. Stay focused. Stay available. Stay teachable. Stay open. Because the first days of breakthrough often look small before they become unmistakable. And when that moment arrives, do not question it. Do not delay. Receive it. Walk into it. Because this decree was not spoken to inspire you. It was spoken to activate you. My beloved child, hold this close. Your waiting did not end in emptiness. Your hidden season did not disappear unseen. Your process did not conclude without purpose. Something has opened. Something has shifted. Something has begun. And now carry this truth with you until the very end. You are no longer preparing for what is ahead. You are beginning to meet it. My beloved child, before this moment ends, I do not want these words to remain only something you heard. I want them to become something you respond to. Because there are moments that pass through your life, and there are moments you choose to mark. This is one of those moments. You have listened. You have stayed. You have opened your heart. Now, I ask you to do something simple but intentional. Seal this promise with an act of faith. Not because your action creates my blessing, not because I need proof of your love, but because when you respond, you remind your own heart that you are no longer standing at the doorway of fear. You are stepping forward in trust. So write this: I receive what God has prepared for me. Write it with expectation. Write it with peace. Write it as a sign that you are no longer agreeing with delay, doubt, or old conclusions. And if faith is rising inside you right now, type Amen to claim this blessing. Declare your Amen if you believe that this season will not end where it began. Do not be ashamed to respond. Hearts change quietly, but faith speaks. And I ask you for one more thing. Do not keep this word only for yourself. Someone near you is tired. Someone feels forgotten. Someone has almost stopped believing that anything can change. Share this video with someone who needs it. Send it to 3 people and let hope travel farther than this moment. Because sometimes the answer someone has been praying for arrives through a message shared in obedience. And if this channel has helped strengthen your faith, brought peace into difficult seasons, or encouraged you to draw closer to God, and you feel led in your heart, you may sow a seed of support through the Super Thanks button below. Not out of pressure, not to buy a miracle, but as a personal act of gratitude and trust to help continue spreading messages of hope and encouragement to others. My beloved child, carry this with you. You are seen. You are remembered. You are loved more deeply than words can say. And wherever the next season leads, do not forget who walks with you. I love you more than words can say. God bless you.